Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Friday Night on the Homestead. Tonight's topic is going to be ways to extend your growing season. And I thought this would be apropos tonight because of what's going on. Let's drop back here and show. Uncle Al wandered away. The reason I figured this would be a good one to have right now because some areas are starting to get, it's getting really cold, starting to get, some frost and stuff. And so it's one way to extend the garden they already have in. But I'm also going to talk about the other end as well tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about extending your garden season in the spring by doing stuff now. So we'll be talking about that as well. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and do a roll call here. First one in was Howie at Food Forest Permaculture. You want to know how to do all sorts of natural gardening and stuff? Howie's the guy to check out. Then we got CB at Hugo Homestead. Dave at Southern Ohio Prepping. I guess it was a little hot. He has the link, but he doesn't look like he wants to come in. Got Kaylin Strain, Emma 3010, Courtney's husband, Ryder Dust, Brenda Duncan 1900 Homestead, Aiden Ayers here, JD Hill Homestead, Getting Started in Homesteading, Mary Beth Smith, P2E, that's Prepping to Endure. Everyone's chit-chatting there back and forth. And here comes Al back. Carol, Fishes and Loaves Life.
I love days like this. Just kill me.
Yeah. And Digs Outdoors is here. Bug Out Basics. Yeah, scroll on down here, trying to catch up. I like it. It takes a long time. That means everybody's talking back and forth.
Yeah. Hi, everybody.
Idaho Garden Girls here.
Hi, Courtney. Courtney's over here.
Hi, Uncle Al.
And scrolling down here, Tasha at Prep For It is here. Teresa at Stringfield Ridge Farm is here.
Yay.
And down here.
I have to watch my mom.
Down everybody's been talking, and it looks like we got a few people that aren't in the chat. That's okay. There are probably a few people here just watching, just seeing what this is all about.
Right.
So Dave's not going to make it in here tonight. I guess it was still a little too hot for him there, and he's waiting to cool off. Well, this should cool off tonight.
Folks, if you send $3 to Dave's PayPal or Courtney's GoFund, you still doing the GoFund for air conditioning for Dave?
Yeah, we were doing it. It wasn't a GoFundMe. It was just like donate some money to his PayPal.
Yeah.
And then leave a note, saying, hey, it was for your air conditioner.
Right. Because he's not used to the high temperatures of Ohio. Soon to be jungles of Ohio. See snakes and lizards and stuff like that. Get a cough drop.
I got one. I almost swallowed it.
Yeah, all right. I have dementia mother and a neurotic dog. So I don't know which one pooped in the living room, but I had to clean it up.
You don't know which one pooped? Oh my God, that's horrible.
Yeah, it is.
Wait, does that mean they're honorable members of the poop troop, Courtney?
No, only if they paid the 99 cents a month.
They're too cheap, and one's a dog.
All right.
This is my life.
Okay. So here's what we got going on here. Let's bring up the slideshow. All right. So, ways to extend your garden, as you can see, they're using the little low tunnels or the hoops, over their rows. And there's, the thing is, these work both in the spring and in the fall for help for the early starters. Hot boxes. Hot boxes are a good way of doing it, sort of like a little raised planter bed with a lid.
Pros.
What I really like is the way that Anthony at Pimento Prepared did his strawberry box, where he built it up and he hooped it up over with the chicken wire to keep the birds and squirrels, everything out of his strawberries. So all he needs to do is just put some plastic over that, and he's got himself a hot box.
Right.
With room for stuff to grow in. All right, the next one here. Some people have the tunnels, the high tunnels, and it looks like these people are getting ready to do the low hoops inside the high tunnel as well, so double protection.
Right. This is called a thermal trench, folks.
Yeah. Now this is something I spotted. I've seen a couple of them, but this is a really basic, down to earth Farmer Jones type setup. You just stack some bales of hay around it, throw some old windows on top of it, and you got yourself an instant hot box.
Right.
And it'll probably go into the second or third snow, keeping those plants alive in there. And also in the springtime, if you have this set up, even after the plants are dead and you have it set up out there, it'll still be generating heat all winter, a little heat all winter long. So it'll be, the ground in there will be warmer come springtime. So you can actually start plants in there earlier. Correct. And they're protected from frost and everything else. So that extends your growing season in the springtime. All right. Now this is one where they've they stacked a bunch of straw bales together here, and they're growing the plants in it. And I can tell by the fact that if you look over the right here, you see the bales are trying to sprout themselves. Mm-hmm. So there's heat going on in there. So it's heating up, and it's as the straw bales decompose, they create heat. So they are generating some heat on their own inside.
Right. Here's a tip: if you're going to do this, folks, you have to have a soil thermometer. If it gets cold, you have the world's biggest rat's nest. Instead of heat generation, you have rat generation, and you don't want 2,000 rats ruining your garden.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. The next one here is basically a close-up of it, of what they're doing. They actually run a
drip line.
A drip goes on top of it, so they get they get water only where they want it. Now, Courtney, have you done this before?
Actually, no, not in the no.
My daughter's done it in the egg cart, the cardboard egg cartons, and start little seedlings in there. And sometimes it works good where it the cardboard holds moisture in there, so it keeps all it just disperses the moisture evenly, because you can just water underneath and it'll soak it up into it.
Yeah. And
sometimes, depending on the type of egg carton, the roots won't quite burrow into it. If it's, and you can just pop it out and just plop it in. Otherwise, you got to cut across it and cut it up to get these little sections out. But that's one way. There's another one here I thought, which is kind of neat.
Right. I just thought of a way for Courtney. If you're using tiny seeds, use cornstarch in a solution and use an eyedropper. That way you could see the dark seeds in the white solution, and you could drop each one into growing mediums like that, instead of having 40 or 30 in a little eggshell.
Yeah.
This I like this one here, because if you got tomatoes and stuff, tomatoes need calcium to so they don't get the blossom end rot.
Right.
Start it in the eggshell. We're going to put your potting mix in the eggshell in the springtime. Start it in there, and then when you go to plant it, you just put the whole thing in there. You just kind of give it a little squeeze to crack the egg. Bury it down in, and with tomatoes, all that little fuzzy stuff at the bottom, you can bury all that. Those will turn into roots.
Right.
And that way you got your calcium in there, and it will help them go.
Right. Hi, Prepper Book Club. Folks, you could also do this with pepper plants too, because pepper plants needs calcium. Unless you want to bury half a dozen bones in your yard, I don't recommend it, because the cops kind of look at it and like, what kind of dead animal is that?
It's none of your business.
Then you're in back of the squad car while they dig up. Gee, this is a big human bone. Oh, it's cow bone.
We put an egg in every hole when we plant our tomatoes, and we usually save like all of our duck eggs for that, because we don't eat them. So.
Okay. And let's see the next.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this is a real cool idea, and it works fairly well. But it's just corrugated plastic domes. Unfortunately, they're very expensive for some stupid reason,
Right.
and it's only one layer. Even if you saw the video I did this last spring on the wall of water tubes, they kind of look like that, only they're tubes, and you fill full of water, and it absorbs the heat during the daytime and then radiates it out at night. And my tomato plants got a big jump start on doing that. I mean, they were, like 1.5 feet taller than the other ones that I planted at the exact same time, but just kept indoors under the grow lights and everything. So
Right. In the old days,
Karen's here.
yeah. Hi, Gary, Karen. In the old days, we used to do whatchamacallit, unwaxed paper. It's like wax paper, and you made cones out of it. You stuck a wire through it, and it does the exact same job, only one layer. And you could, if you're careful, you could use it season after season. And if they're getting too fungus or black mold, you burn it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Instead of washing all these stuff. That's going to
Yeah.
be fun.
Well, I mean, those are rigid, so you can just hose them out. So, basically, one of the things is now's the time you can do to prepare now. On this particular one, you see them piling the straw around plants. Even in California, we get freeze, at the California house, we will get freezes there. We've actually had it where the water lines that were 18 inches deep froze one year.
Oh.
And that's in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Okay? We do the straw, but oh, what a pain, man. It leaves behind so many seeds, and then before you know it, I have so much weeds. But I mean, it works. Straw is great if you don't mind picking weeds.
Yeah. Well, what my wife did last year, she put down a bunch of she got some cover crop with the snap peas and the stuff like that in there, and I forget what all she had in it. She put it down in there. She let it grow all winter, and in the springtime she just tromped it down, and then she spread more one of the bales of straw out on top of it to give it extra cover, and it started, and then it started composting stuff a little bit earlier than normal, and she had great results with it. And she says the stuff now is coming back and starting to grow again for the wintertime, and she's just letting it grow, especially under the citrus trees, the apple trees, and all the stone fruit trees. She's just letting that stuff grow now that it's coming back up. But the straw that my wife gets is rice straw.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a lot cleaner straw.
A lot cleaner. It's a lot of the construction companies use it because it doesn't put out all the other weeds stuff. And the rice, anything from the rice straw that grows needs a lot of water. It's rice; it needs water, and if it's not getting a lot of water, it's not going to grow. It's just going to decompose again.
Right. So another favorite is rice hulls, but I don't recommend it to people because if you do it wrong, you'll see your beds on fire. You don't want that happen.
Yeah.
It's like,
you don't want to put it on so thick that it it does composting to a high temperature. But putting straw around plants, to get them to go farther into the wintertime helps out, and in the springtime to give them a defense against the frost. But one more thing here. Now, all right, hang on to your hats, folks. Everyone, get out a pencil or pen. Get out a note card to write on. So this is based on several other ideas I've seen, and I've only known of one other person that's done this. After we talked, and he actually did it, and he says it works. So here's what we're going to do. You're going to need to get some sort of a ducting blower, for a 4-inch or 6-inch ducting pipe. And if you can get a 12-volt one that you run on a solar panel, so much the better. Then you need to get possibly get some ducting. And I froze. Or you do what I suggested to him, and he did. He went and got some old clay sewer pipe.
That'll work even better.
Yeah, and he dug under his garden down about 2.5 feet, dug a trench, laid the sewer pipe in there, backfilled it, and then I'll tell you what he did with other things you can use besides if you can't get hold of the clay pipe. Clay pipe is cheap in California. They had 3 of the largest manufacturers of the clay pipe back there. There is the concrete pipe, and you don't want to go anything much bigger than 8-inch for this. Then there is the cement fiber pipe used for a lot of flues and stovepipes. Cast iron pipe works really good for this too, if you can get it. And this other one is ductile iron. You know, ductile iron is stronger than cast iron, but it's also got a cement lining in it. The guys, when the lining is broken, they don't want to use it for water pipe, and a lot of times they'll just toss it in their scrap iron pile. If you can get that and hook that up together, it will still work great for what this is. And
you want to get the small one. You don't want to get
4 or 6. 6 inches is about good for it. Is a good size. But this is where they they did an exchange unit off of the greenhouse for the planter outside the greenhouse to run the warm air from the planter out here into the soil to warm it up. Well, what you're going to do is you're just going to run whatever type of pipe you can get that can take heat. It's got to be able to stand heat. And you bury it down about at least 24 inches of soil coverage over it. And that's okay. So I'm going to explain what this is going after. So after you have that pipe laid and you bring it up on the other end and you put it like a rain cap on it, so stuff can't go in. At the other end, you bring it up and you get one of those a cheap wood burning stove, and you plumb the wood burning stove into it, and you have your on the other end you can put it with just a rain cap, or you can put it up with the blower I showed there, and they put the rain cap on top of the blower, put a little plastic doghouse over it so it doesn't get rain on it. When you start the blower going, then you start your fire, and it draws all that heat from the fire through the pipe and heats up either with the cement pipe, the clay pipe, the cast iron pipe. It heats that up under the ground, and so that'll keep the ground warm, and it'll be radiating heat even when it's snowing, and the snow will all melt off of it, and your plants can go longer. And you can actually put a little hoop over the plants. You can be in the middle of January where everything's freezing, and those plants are happy as can be because
it'll be 80 degrees roughly, right, Gil?
Mm-hmm. And you got all that heat up there, and you just go out there and just fill up this little cheapo wood burning stove. Or, everyone, important, you can go to northerntool.com, get their 55-gallon barrel stove kit. So you take a metal 55-gallon barrel, comes with the legs, the flue attachment, and a door that goes on one end of it, cast iron door. And so you just plumb that over into it, and you can just load up that 55-gallon barrel full of wood, get the fire going, then you shut it down tight. But air will still leak around it, so you'll still get a draft through there. The fire won't go out, and it'll go all day and night off of one filling and keep that garden warm.
Right. I have to do one thing, folks. What Gil suggested in his idea, it's been done in Korea a long time ago. But you got to understand this. You want the heat, not the smoke. Because if you get the smoke and heat, what you're doing is
you'll kill your plants.
You're right. You made the world's biggest vegetable smoker.
Yeah, well, that's why you make sure the pipe going underneath there is sealed, and that's why you're burying it 2 feet deep at least, 2 to 3 feet deep, and it's sealed, and you're not going to get stuff coming off, smoke coming off, and it'll take. That's why you would probably you want to start your fires going as soon as the first frost hits, because as the ground you don't want the ground to cool off too much, and you just do a small fire, just enough to keep down deep warm as the top starts cooling. Right. And that's my crazy idea. A friend of mine actually did it. He says it works good. So, yeah, of course, he had access to tons of clay pipe.
Right. But remember, folks, you do not want you have a little smoke, but not a lot, because then you made the world's biggest smoker and everything. And
Well,
you know
that's
what?
yeah. But see, that's why you have it come up away from the, you run it out about 10 feet away from the end of your garden area, and you run it up there and just let it blow out there. Writer does. I'd like to see Gil write all this down and create a sheet with this idea so I can fathom what he's talking about. Yeah.
Good
All
luck.
right. Yeah. So basically, you got your wood burning stove, barrel, whatever, a fire source, heat source.
Can you
And
use
with a pipe,
corrugated pipe for that?
you can use corrugated pipe, yes.
Okay. I was curious because it's
And basically, you run stove pipe up, over, down into where it goes down underground. You have it go underground, turn, and you go have it go along the length of one of these planter beds right here. Or you're just all the way long, and you just have it down so it's covered up by 2 feet of garden soil above the pipe. And that way it's warming the garden soil as the fire is burning in there. And it's not a really hot fire. It's just enough, to keep keep everything, about, 80 degrees, in the pipe there. And basically it's a kind of a takeoff of the Wallapini.
Yeah.
Where I showed that guy back in Kansas that has it where snow's on the ground, and he's got orange trees growing inside his Wallapini, and because it's pulling the heat from underground.
Right. It's called the thermal trench for that one, folks.
Yeah.
There's two forms of thermal trench, what Gil's talking about in Korea. But also you have to be careful. You want the heat. So the smoke has to be, not smoke. The heat has to be clean. Gil knows what I'm talking about. When you're burning the fire, has to burn clean.
Okay, so you don't burn like green wood and
no, you use good dry wood. Yeah,
just playing.
Oh, and don't use pine. I keep telling people do not use pine in a smoker. They're all looking at me. Why can't we use pine in a smoker, Uncle Al? Because the smoker cost me $1,100, and I don't want you to ruin my smoker.
What, you don't want your meat to smell like pine sol or taste like pine sol?
No, I don't want the resin stuck inside my smoker, my old smoker, and catch on fire. And I'm running out there with a fire extinguisher, looking at my nephews like, "You went to Harvard or Yale, did ya? Bula bula this." And I'm putting out their fire, and they, "You're ruining the steaks, Uncle Al. We have 3-foot flames coming out of my smoker. What kind of wood are you using in it?" We got some old wood." "What kind of old wood?" "I thought it was oak, but it came from that pine tree over there."
All right.
I'm not having a good day.
Here's the proper spelling of that. And this is what one of the Wallapinis look like here. Let me see if I can just get into images here for you.
And it's a basic thermal trench, folks.
Yeah, and so basically you have most of the greenhouses underground, and the heat transfer one adds to it. They're not showing any of that here. Basically at one end, they'll have they'll take a pipe, they go down 8 feet, dig about 150-foot big circular trench, and bring the pipe back up at the other end and have just a little blower on it. So while it's in at 150 feet, it's picking up the subterranean heat and bringing it back into the greenhouse. And in the summertime, it does just the opposite, because once it gets so hot,
it cools.
The soil temperature, the air temperature you're bringing in is still 68 degrees. So in the summertime, instead of 68 warm, it's 68 cool in there to help keep it from overheating in the summertime.
Right. Gil, if you go to the pencil drawing with the lady on the far, yeah. Okay, these are the early sun pits. Now, to improve that, you put a hoop dome over it. So you create an air pocket, and that gets heated up. And what happens is, in the early sun pits, it boosts up the heat inside the pit. We call them a Martian thermal pit, because you have a plastic hoop dome over the sun pit, and you create a better temperature or cooling temperature, because you're having a vacuum bottle. You have a space in between the grow house and the outside environment.
Hang on a second here. Kansas.
I think it was in one of your what slides that. And there's Bob. Hi, Bob.
Hey, Bob. Let me pull it up here. I'm working on this guy. Sorry. There's a guy in Kansas, a retired postal office worker. Tired. Grows oranges and snow. Let's see if that brings it up. Oh, it's having a hard time. Try this.
Oh, Gil's looking for that.
Yeah.
Other tricks you could do for extending growth is also growing inside the house. Certain plants you could grow into containers and then you could transplant outside. But I have to warn people, you got to know on your volume of root space from container to outside. People goof this up. I could put 40 plants in one 5-gallon cloth bucket. You can't do that, folks. It doesn't work.
Yeah. Okay. So the name of this video, I'm going to put it in the chat here.
And please, folks, hit the like button. We have 25 people watching.
All right. So I don't have the sound coming on this, so I'm just going to forward it. So this is out in Nebraska. Greenhouse in the snow, 100% geothermal. And this is the greenhouse. And the house itself is also heated the same way. Yeah. So it keeps it 68 degrees in the house year round. There's the snow and there's the greenhouse. And inside, that's what it looks like. That's the gentleman there. He's got oranges, lemons, banana trees growing in here.
That's grapefruit.
Yeah, and let's see if I can skip ahead here. Okay, so here's one of the ductings. Oh, let me back it up there. So there's the one of the ductings going down, the air's going through. And he ran it way out into the yard, and he's showing where he ran it out, long distance. And he just ran it one way. Some others have running it two ways, where both entrance and exit are inside. But even with the cold outside, it warms it up enough. So, I'm trying to find where it shows the other one here, folks. But yeah, I mean, there's one of the ones with the blowers on it. I mean, delicate flowers like that growing in the snow.
Yep.
And stuff. And so, let's see here, going along here. Here's the new one. They're building the new one.
Wow.
And it's already working on it. And they're actually, see how they got the ducting going across the top here?
Yeah.
So they got it coming in the one side, blowing out the other side, and it goes across and back out the one side. So, so it's a, see the ducting going, being drawn down from off the, one of the other ones. So, and so they use it either for cooling or for heating.
Right.
So that's kind of where I'd seen this years ago, but I'd seen something else similar to this long time ago, and that's when I was thinking about using the clay pipe, because I used to work in construction many years ago, back when I got married 34 years ago, and we had clay pipe all over the place, and we also had the ductile iron, the cast iron. Let me tell you something. This summer, when you put your hand on a piece of black ductile iron pipe, you get burned.
Yeah, it's hot.
It's just from the sun, you get burned. And so it's a neat way to, I mean, you could even just, if you wanted to, lay some of that black pipe out in the air. So I'm going to lay it out a bunch, and put some clear plastic over it so the sun would heat it up. They
Right.
also make the kits that go on the side of a house that just heat the air up and blow warm air into the house. So you can use the same thing for blowing into the pipe underneath your garden. So
Yeah.
Right. There's one guy, and I forget, in South Dakota did the same thing, but he converted an old grain silo into a solar tower. He did it, cut openings on the side, still structurally sound. He double walled it so he gets air, which turns out to be 100 degrees, and it goes into his garden house. He hasn't paid an electric bill or heating
Nice.
bill for his garden because it's a Gil knows how tall those grain silos the other one gets, how high they are.
yeah, you can get them all anywhere from 10 feet to 50 feet tall, depending
So
on
it's
which
like
ones you get.
Right. It's a big heat bank. So he sucks all the hot air in there and exhausts out. And it heats his house and his little greenhouse and whatever. The problem with thermal designs like this, you have to be careful if you're not in a major snowstorm. It doesn't work when you're under 40 feet of snow and it keeps snowing for next 2 months. You don't have sunlight to heat it. So you have to go with Gil's idea and shoveling wood into the burner to keep everything alive.
Yeah. And one of the things that I liked about that Kansas City volcano one is basically he's dug down 8 feet and just ran it around. So 8 feet down, there's no way. I mean, the frost line is only at 4 feet in that area, or 3 feet in that area. So he's 4 to 5 feet below the frost line, which means it's nice and warm down there. And you run that around and then bring it up into one end of the greenhouse, and the air goes out the other side. And so it's just blowing around one continuous circuit. It's going to keep it really warm. Now, one of the things I want to also talk about, now we're switching gears again, guys. Grind the gears. Switching gears. Okay. For the springtime, one of the things that my grandmother used to do was she would get the bales of alfalfa, straw, all the stuff, and then that she, the horse people had all summer long that was getting weird because it was stacked in the barn and not being used, and they get the fresh alfalfa in, and she'd get the old stuff, and she'd pile it out in the field, and she'd get the all the manure from the stables and stuff, just pile it all on there, make a big pile, spread it out so it's only about 3 foot deep. And when about the 1st of December, she'd get her grandsons, my cousins, because I wasn't there at the time, to pull big sheets of plastic over it, black plastic. And that it never caught fire on her, but in the springtime when she pulled it off, I mean that stuff had baked down. It had because the heat from the sun and heat from inside, and everything was down to a really fine mulch, broken down. All the seed, it got hot enough that all the seeds in there were cooked.
Yep.
All the alfalfa seeds were cooked. So all the weed seeds were cooked. So there was nothing was not all the seeds and stuff from that straw and the horse manure and everything was cooked off. So there was no weeds coming up when she used it in the garden.
That's nice.
Right. But that was grandma's day. I do not recommend using horse manure nowadays.
No,
because there's too much chemicals in it.
Yeah.
And you don't want that. Like, we all feel funny from your organic tomatoes, Uncle Al. My hair is falling out.
You got to be careful because there is a pushback coming now against the chemical called Grazon, which a lot of the alfalfa growers were spraying on the fields to kill everything but the alfalfa. Problem is, it was getting when they fed the alfalfa to cows and stuff, it was getting into the milk, and it stayed in the manure. And when people used that manure in their gardens, it killed everything off in their garden because it was still active.
Yeah, you have to be really careful. And basically, it goes right through the horse, right through him. And because I thought several times, because my neighbors have horses, I thought about asking them, but I just.
And remember, a cow has 4 stomachs.
Right.
So if you're feeding them toxic stuff, they're not going to be healthy. They're wandering around, look like, hey man, we're really stoned. I don't know what's in the feed this year, and we're all not going to produce milk. Great, you have 28 cows, and it's like, okay, what the hell's going on?
Yeah. Because they're finding out that it's showing up in milk and stuff. Going to the grocery.
Froze.
Yeah, so it's showing up in the milk going to the grocery stores, and that's where they're getting the big pushback from. And then the gardening communities are finding out, are requesting to know, all right, where is this manure coming from? What is it? Is it a beef farm or is it a dairy? And then they go to there to find out where are you getting your alfalfa from. And if it's coming from a company's using the Grazon spray, they let that farmer know, hey, we ain't taking any of your manure because it has this chemical in it and it doesn't go away.
Right. It's mostly in the Midwest.
Yeah. So now all of a sudden the dairy farmer now is left with all this manure that he can't get rid of because nobody wants it because of the chemical in it. So he's having to stop. And we got our cabin in the woods here and Gunslingers here. Albany Mountain Homestead just came in. And did I miss anybody else looking back here? I think that's everyone just came in. But one of the things I really want to get into, and my wife is talking about when she comes up here, is winter prepping the garden for spring.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be, we have a dairy here that we've checked with them, and they grow their own alfalfa and they don't use Grazon. And so, we can get it for free from them. They all the farmers are saying, anybody, all right, we're giving it away. And they have trucks go out there and they just go out in the fields and trucks just throw the manure everywhere as it drives along. And,
you see, Gil's in Idaho. I'm in California. We don't give away our cow manure. Why? Because we don't use Grazon. We grow our own alfalfa. Also, I grow silage. And a lot of people don't understand what silage is. I have to be really careful because I will cut down. It's basically corn, oats, uric acid, and molasses that I try to pickle the whole corn, not just the cobs. I'm talking the whole corn plant. And if you ever drive down I-5, you see these big white bales with rubber tires on it. And you see angry old Uncle Al with his cane going at you as you drive by 80 miles an hour on the I-5. That's silage, folks. And that's used to feed dairy cattle and beef cattle. But we don't tell that secret to our brothers in beef because us dairy people are like, shh, don't tell them. They're going to come over and steal our feed because feed is short. And that's why we have alfalfa and corn, and we rotate it so we don't get weeds, and we use up all our cow manure. So if you're looking for cow manure here in California, good luck.
Yeah. One of the things too is that if you check with the stables, and if they like this, sometimes the stables will go out and get the bulk of the alfalfa for the horses, and then the individual owners of the horses there will buy bales from them as part of it, And if you find out that they're getting at a Grazon free place, even though when a horse poops out the alfalfa, you can get seed growth on it. But if you pile that and compost that over the wintertime and get one of the big heavies like Idaho Garden Girl said, where you get the silage tarps and put over it so it cooks it. You can kill off just about all of the seed in it.
Yeah, that's good.
See, right there, North Shore. Because they're smart. They stole our idea. We fed silage to our cows. Yeah, save you money. Because you ever try to get nice, clean alfalfa all the time or hay for your dairy? It's near impossible during the drought.
Yeah. And depending where you're at, you can check around to find out where they grow rice at. If they grow rice in your area, after they go through and they remove all the rice and they got all the stalks and stuff left over, generally they bale that up for straw, and that straw, because they've already beat all the rice seeds out of it, or most of it out, they're going to want to, they just want to get rid of it. And they sell those bales off, and those bales make good compost and don't have weeds coming up out of it.
Right, but that's secondary rice straw. Primary rice straw, it gets shipped to Korea, Japan, because we make tatami mats out of it. And a lot of people are like, what's that? We put it on floors of houses and stuff. You know, the straw mats.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, think area rug.
Yeah, but they're a lot stronger and a lot cleaner than the area rug. Trust me on that, folks. And they'll last for generations. Your area rug, like, who peed on that? Am I right?
Let's see, we got 4 grandkids. That's any of the younger 3 that peed on it.
Right.
Hey, Viper's in the house.
Hey,
Yep,
Viper.
and so is Steve. Steve's still looking around for a minute.
Yes, still Steve's lurking. Okay.
I'm gonna now. CB talked about earlier about how she used she's using clear shower curtain or whatever to do that. I think I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go to like the dollar store and get some cheap shower curtain, maybe get some furring strips. Hopefully they're still cheap, and make a frame, and then just kind of make a frame over top of what I already have out there.
Yeah. Now the one thing I have to warn you about those cheap clear shower curtains. Come springtime, you keep an eye on them because they may be starting to break down.
Right.
Of
course, if it's been a cloudy winter, they're not going to break down as much as when you have a lot of the clear days.
Right. We talked in another live stream about that plastic netting that you could use it for either heating or cooling, the white stuff with the little ribs, like on my veggie pod. Remember that? We talked about that one.
Yeah, there are several different products out there called, basically they're called anything from frost blankets, frost sheets, and they're it's almost like a batting for quilting. But it's a lot tougher and stronger. It's made to be out in the sunlight. And that stuff you can put over it, and that really insulates really well. And because of the way it's built with all its little things in it, the rainwater will go through it and won't stay and make it really heavy like a regular sheet will.
Right.
One of the things that my wife uses all the time is all our old sheets. When she gets tired of a sheet, it's starting to get thin. It's going out in the garden. And in about another, I'd probably say about the second week of December, unless they get an early frost there in California, she'll go out and she'll have them set out there so that if we get a frost one, she just goes out and throws them over the orange trees, the lemon trees, the tangerines, and she just throws it over the top and gives it sort of a big blanket, because those trees now are so grown up and dense. If you saw the video I did this last spring on those trees, that they're generating heat, and the sheets just thrown over the top of it is enough to keep the heat in underneath there, so it doesn't freeze when everything else around freezes.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I have a hoop. It's not really a greenhouse. It's a hoop house or whatever. I wouldn't consider it really a greenhouse, but I have in there shelving on both sides. I would plan to do is I have created in the past like little mini greenhouses using totes.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought about putting my mini greenhouses lined up on the sides and planting lettuce and stuff in those, and then using the tote lid to put over top of it. So not only do I have the hoop house on the outside, but I also have the tote covering the lettuce and stuff too. You know what I mean? I thought about doing that, but I'm looking for cheaper ways because freaking totes are so expensive.
Right.
Yeah. I noticed the price on like the 27-gallon black and yellow totes went from the sale price went from $6.99 to $9.99.
Yeah. I was like, what?
And it's like go higher too.
Yeah, I mean those are the sale prices. The regular price is like $15.
Yeah.
Right.
And we just had There it is. Bent Genetics just came in.
Hey,
Right.
Ben Genetics.
Ginger Ninja's here too.
Hey, Ginger. I miss Ginger. Ginger's going to be mad at me.
Hi, Ben.
Ginger.
Remember, folks, when you're gardening early or later in the season, make sure you know what zone you're in and make sure your weather condition. Because if you set up your hoop house or Martian thermal trench where you use 2 hoop houses, one inside and one outside to create a bubble of warm air, which is a lot easier. Because I did that with a friend of mine. He had problem because every year the winds come through and rip the hell out of the plastic. Like in Courtney's problem, when the high winds come in and you see all your plastic blow away, solve the problem. We put the most of the greenhouse, underground, and then we have a bubble over that, and then we put another hoop house over that with the plastic that me and Gil talked, because it's a batting and a knitting. It also cools the house in the summer and heats it in the winter.
Yeah.
And that stuff isn't cheap.
You have to be careful in the wintertime here too, because it may be 35 degrees here, but it's like 80 degrees in the hoop house. And we were coming across that issue in the spring, and we had to actually buy shade cloth to go over top of our hoop house because it was getting to be in the hundreds in this, early spring. It was like 100 degrees in there. Like lettuce and brassicas and stuff couldn't even survive in that. So
no, but also another neat trick to cool your hoop house, you put in 55-gallon drums, paint them black, and that absorbs the heat during the day. And then, like Gil's system, you get a blower and blow hot air any place.
Yeah.
And also, you have hot water too. So I'll get some hot water from the hoop house.
Okay.
yeah, that's a good idea.
I'm going to put this up here. So here are your basic. All right. Now this one here gives it a little bit differently. This one's saying, example of Tennessee is zone 7. A couple others saying it was zone 6. That's one of them. But yeah, you can just Google U.S. grow zone maps, and they run the different ones. Yeah, here, this one breaks it out a little bit better. This is the USDA. Let me see if I can get that one up here big. Save. And boom, and
I have to say,
and it runs the temperatures both in Fahrenheit and centigrade, and runs your areas to where you're at. Even includes Puerto Rico, Hawaii, and Alaska.
Nice.
Right. I have to say this to a lot of newbie prepper channels. Gardening is not racist. What Gil's wife does is take old bed sheet and put it over the plant. They are not with the clan. They are not racist. It's supposed to protect them.
Who the heck would think that?
Trust me, I've seen a lot of new preppers that, yeah, those are racist trees. No, they're not.
What?
It's for gardening.
Hey, and since when did the Ku Klux Klan wear a pastel paisley colored sheet?
When did the KKK even care about gardening?
I don't know, but these new preppers are putting a lot of misinformation out.
Yeah.
It's like, it's getting serious, folks. You're going to have legal troubles, because I just did a video on that. And I keep telling people, you have to be careful what kind of information put out. You'll have experience. I have experience. Courtney has experience. All right. Do not give out insane, like, yeah, but they're racist. No, they're not. It's a pastel sheet over a lemon tree. It's not a racist plant.
My mom, man, she has tons of bed sheets. I mean, over the past, 40 years in her house. So we asked her for some. I had like the 1970s flower swirl out there the other a couple
you
winters
didn't have
ago.
Howdy Doody sheets?
No.
All right, I'm trying to find something here real quick. It's back. Okay, Daniel's putting out a ton of videos. Trying to get back to. Okay, does this one have it? Hang on. I just passed it.
See, even Suburban Hillbilly, if you wear a bandana or a little hat, they think you're a gang member. I'm saying, no, it just takes the sweat off my head. I wear like the dorky kind. It's over my head and has little ears like that. And they said, that's racist. No, it isn't. I'm gardening out here. It's hot and I'm sweating. I don't want sweat dripping down my eyes. And they're all looking at me. Are you sure, bro?
Yeah,
Yes.
we all know suburban hillbillies in a gang.
All right. So it's probably going to be about 2.5 years ago. Daniel
Garden gang.
at Arms Family Homestead has a big high tunnel he got. It's like 40 feet across and 70 feet long or something like that. But his has a solid wall at one end with the door in it.
Right.
In the middle, the hoops open up. So basically
cool.
It opens up to vent out. You can crank it open. And at the other end, it goes along and turns like a clamshell thing. So he can pull.
Froze again? It's a Disney moment.
Pull it up so it's totally open at the one end, open in the middle, and he has a door at the other end, and he can put a fan on it. And when his gets too hot, if he's there, he can cool it right down.
Right.
So,
another trick on cooling houses, on hoop houses, is have the big wick. Basically, it's like a swamp cooler for a greenhouse.
Yeah.
You run water through the coconut fiber pad, and there's a big, it's like a small electric aircraft engine, and it blows. If you ever try to smoke smoke a cigar in front of you see ashes flying all over the place because it's like.
All right, there he is. See how his end of this high tunnel, it's lifted up and it's open.
Right. Also, Bushcraft Family has a similar system to this.
Yeah, and then in the middle, those I'm not sure if it'll show it here because he had a different one. It was down farther. Okay, here he's looking into it. But in the middle there, you can see in between the things, those between this row and this row, it opens up.
Right.
But yeah, so that there will cool off fairly quickly. You open that up in the summertime, it'll cool right down. And he keeps this in the summertime. He keeps the end open, but he's run stuff just about year round in there.
Right. And if you see on the corner on the side, you see the little hoop. He could also cover that up during the winter to increase heat flow.
Yeah, he's done that too. He has kale in there, some other stuff he grows for the wintertime.
Right, because you're bleh. You ever have 2 strokes? You're creating a heat cushion. The outside air is like a vacuum jar. You have an outside wall and you have the inner wall. And then you have an airspace in between, like my coffee pot. I keep telling him, don't put it on the fire, you idiot nephew from Yale. It's like, it'll boil. No, it won't. Yeah. It's like my mom. Pyrex is breakable, right? Yeah. No, it's not breakable. It's heat proof. I keep losing coffee pots. So I can't put this on it's a French press. Do not put it on the stove. Do not smash my French press. It's like, ugh.
All right, we're getting to the top of the hour here. So just to let you know what's coming up on Tactical Tuesday on Gray Man Prepping channel, the topic's going to be emergency communications. What's your plan? We're going to talk about making plans and what you need to consider for emergency communications during disasters and other crazy events by Captain Crazy.
Yeah.
And next Friday here on Friday night in the Homestead, it's going to be your pantry, the cornerstone of preparedness. So that's what we're talking about, is about pantries, food preservation, and how to organize a pantry in a way that works for you. Not the way it works for me, the way it works for you.
Right. On that one, next Friday, on the pantry, it's a working pantry, not long-term, because I have people screw up the 4 corners. How in the hell can you screw up 4 corners? That's like this picture frame. You have the pantry in one corner. You have the freezer in one corner. You have the refrigerator in one corner. And like Gil and me, we have a storage unit, right?
Yep. All right. So that's what's coming up on next week. So Courtney, so you had your thing this morning. What's your next live?
My next live is Sunday night at 11.
Okay.
I have my my registration video out there for our Poopaween. Me and Garden State Gardener have come together, and we're doing a pumpkin carving contest.
And there's talking about it right there.
First place winners are going to win a Squatty Potty, and then the second place winner is going to win a Wide Family Farm T-shirt. So,
yeah, and it's a pretty funny shirt.
Yeah,
yeah. And also, folks, what I did today, just make everybody jealous. I hand breaded, I seasoned them, and I put honey and I put waffles together, and I felt 12. I don't have 2 extra fingers, but you know what I mean. 12 people with a nice side salad and a dessert,
nice.
Chicken and waffles drenched in homemade honey syrup.
Cool.
Nice.
All right. Courtney, Wednesday, who's your guest?
It's going to be Whiskey and Sunshine.
Whiskey and Sunshine. That's Wednesday at
9:30 p.m. Yep.
Eastern time.
They're off grid too, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
All right. So there's some more things coming up. Check around with the different places.
Pros.
The math here, right? Gemini Homestead is on at 7.
Yeah.
Eastern, followed by Stringfield Ridge Farm at 8 Eastern. Then Backwoods Law at 9 Eastern, and then of course here at 10 o'clock Eastern time. That's the Friday lineup. So, and I'm not sure if anybody's coming in on after us around. I usually don't see anybody coming on because it's what, 11 o'clock Eastern. So it's probably going to be someone like Gardner
Josh or the Yogi family or somebody.
Fishes is going to be on tonight at 11:30. So she's going to try and take that spot depending on how she feels.
Okay.
And if she can get her mom to bed and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, I got the same problem.
Yeah.
So Fishes and Loaves Life will come on in half an hour. All you wild preppers out there, Dangerous Freedom is on right now. No, Dangerous Freedom After Dark. That's his second channel. That's his channel that in case they say something, that's the one that's going to get yanked down.
Right. So be careful, folks. YouTube and a lot of the other social medias are monitoring you, and they will take it down and use it in court. Google is already taken several people, famous high-standing people like Kimmy. I don't know who's that lady hip hopper.
Cardi B.
Yeah, or something, had a kid, and she was arguing with Twitter or something, and the other lady was arguing with a black rapper, was arguing with YouTube, and oh god! And also,
and we're not going to get into that here on this channel.
Right? We're talking about gardening.
Yeah, we're talking gardening here, but So that's why a lot of people are doing 2 channels. That's why I moved all my prepping stuff over onto the Gray Man Prepping, because some people don't like talking about. What do you mean you're storing up 5 years worth of food?
We're not stupid. We're careful.
Yeah. So anyways, so that's what's going on coming up here. Also check to make sure there are people getting unsubscribed. I've been unsubscribed to several channels. I had to go back in and resubscribe. So that's just the way the AI just randomly going through and just,
right. Everybody, make sure you check on Wide Family Farms, because again, they unsubscribed me from Courtney's channel this morning. Nice. And I was doing church work. I'm like, what the? Well, I don't want to curse. Jocularity. So, and also Gil's channel, Gray Man Prepping, or whatchamacallit, the other one, Camppatton's Family Compound, which we're on right now. And also Ron T. Sawyer. He was at 500. All of a sudden, like, what happened to all my subs? They're gone. I'm back to 430. Now he's back up to 500 because I had to resub to him like.
Yeah. All right, folks. We're going to wrap it up here now. We're a minute after. And so keep an eye out for a notification possibly coming from Fishes and Loaves Life in about 20 minutes or 25 minutes. And if she comes up, we'll probably see you over there in the side chat.
Sounds good. Bye, guys.